listening to the Bible 126 show.
Find a reason to be here that's bigger than you are.
From the creators of Jesus Revolution.
Something about that little girl. I think I'm supposed to help.
Based on the inspiring true story.
My name is Sharon. I'm good at plenty of things. Taking no for an answer ain't one of them.
Find your purpose. Make a difference.
You want to go on an adventure?
Yeah.
Ordinary Angels. Starring two-time Academy Award winner Hilary Swank and Alan Richson. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested. In theaters now.
All right. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our next presenter is an osteopathic medical doctor, board certified in 3 medical specialties, widely regarded as the most knowledgeable and outspoken physician on the adverse impact that vaccines can have on health. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to your feet and greet Dr. Sherry Tenpenny.
Thank you. Woohoo! Yes! Ohio! Go Ohio! Yes! Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for, wow. Oh, well, thank you. What a lovely, oh, well, thank you. I love you back. I love you more. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. And how many of you had to brave the snow this morning to drive down here? I got up at I live in Cleveland, and I got up at 6:30 to snow blow my driveway so I could get down here. So thank you all for coming. I just want to start by just a little bit saying that we're going into the 3rd year of this nonsense, right? So from March 2020 up until December of 21. I did over 600 interviews. In the last half of 2021, I did 389 speaking events, which means I was either speaking to somebody or somebody was on my podcast or I was on a live event. And so so my last talk was in December in San Diego. And I said, so, Lord, what am I going to talk about this year? We've been spending the last 2 years. Everybody knows about the myth of the mask, and thank God there's no masks in here. Because what do we really know about masks 100% for sure? The only thing they do is make the person who wears them sick. That's it. So we talked about the myth of the mask, the nonsense of social distancing. You guys are all out of compliance. You're all sitting all close to each other over there, right? Yes, for non-compliance, right? That's really cool. And then we talked about, the really fraud and the horrible things, and more coming out all the time about the fraud of the PCR tests, right? And then we spent a good portion from December of 2020 up till and including today talking about the problems with these shots. So it's like, okay, what's left? So I got to thinking about it, and I thought, well, of the last 2 years, there were 2 questions that came up all the time that I don't think had been addressed or answered. And the first question is, why are they doing this? And the second question, more importantly, is what is their end game? And why are we doing that? So that's what we're going to talk about here today, because it really is the intentional destruction of the temple. Because we really are God's temple, and God's Spirit dwells within us. And the people who have volunteered, either volunteered because out of fear, out of convenience, or they were coerced into compliance by their job, their business, or whatever, that really was the violation of the temple, and that's what we're going to talk about a lot today. And why are they doing this? Well, this is predicted, how many thousands of years ago, written right in the book of Psalms. Why do the nations rebel and the peoples plot in vain? As the kings of the earth take their stand, look at what's happening, like Trudeau, Canada, all that stuff. As the kings who think they're kings of the earth take their stand, and the rulers conspire together against the Lord by forcing you to have an experimental product that changes your genetics is against God. And his anointed one, they say, the kings say, let us tear off the chains and free ourselves from God's rules, from our God-given genetics, from what's happening inside of our bodies, from America being the only country in the world who is based on inalienable rights, and our rights come from God. They can't take them away, and we should not be begging to get them back. We need to just take them back. Thank you. So this is the plan design. This is all based on Ephesians chapter 6, right? That we are not fighting against other human beings. We are fighting against powers and principalities of this present darkness. Way up there, the evil reigns. And when this first started back in March of 2020, I took a step back and I said, wow, this is kind of like same playbook, different virus, SARS, MERS, bird flu, H1N1. That's what they're doing again. But bigger than that, I said, this is Satan's last hurrah. It's his power down that he's working overtime to get as many people into his lair because he knows the gig's up. So this is the design. Satan hates everything in God's image. This is the solution Satan has been striving for thousands of years, to destroy God's creation, capturing souls and permanently separating them from heaven. Because remember, your genetic imprint, when your daddy's sperm and your mommy's egg came together and God said, life. There's not been another human being before, nor will there be another one after with your same imprint. So Satan's whole thing about these messenger RNA shots and the double-stranded DNA shots of the J&J shot is to destroy your connection with God by destroying your personal genetics. Therefore, the Great Global Reset is a coup designed to replace truth with lies and is being implemented using a corruption and abusive power. And this is how they're doing it. Step one is to inoculate all people multiple times. And we're going to talk about that in more detail in just a minute. The second thing is that make sure that the serum that is injected, I have a book from 1938 that talks about the toxic serums that are injected into young children, which are annihilating children. And that the doctors that are doing it are the Satan's cat's paw, which means they've been duped and they're doing the work of Satan, maybe not even knowing they're doing it. And it's the whole point is to make people chronically ill, customers for life. You're either going to be a customer for life, chronically ill, you're going to be moved into the transhumanism movement, or you're going to be dead. That's what's happening with all of this. And doctors who write the order and nurses that follow through are complicit. They're part of this. So the treatments for injection-induced disease will give them even more money. So they're causing you to be ill to make money off of your sickness. And that's what's happening with the plan. So remember this. Do you not know that your body is the temple of the Holy Spirit who is within you, whom you have received as a gift from God, and it's not your own. It's not your own, particularly if you're a Christian, because Jesus' blood died for you. You now belong to him. Do not defile your temple with these nonsensical shots. And if you want to know more about those shots, if you go to drtenpenny.com, which is our main website, I created 2 ebooks. One is called The 20 Mechanisms of Injury of How the COVID Shots Can Make You Sick or Kill You. And 3 months later, I had found 20 more mechanisms. So there's a total of 40, and I've found 8 more since I published these 2 ebooks. And these books all have hyperlinks in them, hyperlinks that go to the actual peer-reviewed medical literature that shows you how these mechanisms are making you sick or trying to kill you. So the destruction of the temple is real. They are actually literally killing the heart. And this is what's really important, is that of this kind of busy-looking slide, is that in men under the age of 40, when they get a Pfizer shot, the risk of myocarditis nearly doubles after the first shot. It doubles again after the second shot, and it goes up to 8 times the increased risk of myocarditis if you get a booster. And they're planning 7 boosters. Moderna, the risk of myocarditis after the second shot increases 16-fold. They're literally killing hearts. They're also literally killing your immune system. So all these people that they get the shot and they get boosted and they still wear their double mask goggles, gloves, and they're driving around in their car all by themselves, with their double glass masks on, right? I love it. It's one of the best memes I've seen somebody sent me. It was like somebody took the picture, was sitting in the driver's seat of a car, taking the picture of a back of a truck. And what it said on the back of the truck was, "Take off your silly mask, you're the only one in the car." So that's good, right? So one of the things, so people say, well, once I get the shot and we've got this shedding thing that's going on that we call transmission, how long does it last? Possibly forever. And the reason is because of number one here. What they have done is they have synthetically made the messenger RNA. They've changed one of the nucleic acids. So usually with normal messenger RNA, it goes through the ribosomes once or twice and it's done. Well, because this is synthetically made in a lab, they made it so it goes over and over and over and over and over again. So you may be replicating those spike proteins forever. The second thing is when they say when people get sick, well, why is it? Well, we know why that is. It's because the messenger RNA ablates, wipes out your immune system by two different mechanisms. It wipes it out, and what they're talking about is that perhaps as time goes on, your immune system will get lower and lower and lower, that your CD8 cells will be at the level of someone who has AIDS. It goes on forever because you've annihilated the immune system. And the spike protein, in the ebooks that I wrote, there's at least 10 different ways the spike proteins make you sick, and that the spike proteins bind to your DNA, irreversibly changing it and stopping your repair mechanisms from eliminating cancer cells. So it's going to make the cancer rate go through the roof, which is already happening. And anybody who says, and I'm going to insert this here, makes a claim that they've got a pill, a potion, a tea, a technology, or something like that that can eliminate your spike proteins from your system, they can't make a claim like that. There is no commercially available test as we sit here right today that you can get a blood test and see whether or not you've got spike proteins in your blood and do before and after analysis on a pill, a potion, a tea, a technology or something like that. So people making claims like that, the government can come after them for fraud. So this is the German data that says that people who've been injected, this is what I kind of referred to, have an 8 times increased risk of getting sick again from Omicron and whatever the next strain is that's going to come out. Because this is what's happening. We know this from 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. The coming of the lawless one will be accompanied by the power of Satan. He will use every kind of power, including miraculous signs, lying wonders, think Fauci, every type of evil, think Fauci, to deceive those who are dying and those who refuse to love the truth that would save them. Now, the truth there is really intended to mean loving Christ, but loving the truth is what you learn about the problems with these shots and instead go, oh, I'm going to believe CNN instead. For this reason, God will send them a powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie. And what have we done? We've believed the lie. And going into the 3rd year of this, the people that still believe the lie, honestly, I wouldn't waste 1 minute of your precious God-given time trying to convince them otherwise. Spend your time on the movable middle, on people that are willing to learn and maybe are regretting that they got the shot and trying to find something to heal their body and also to talk to them about their spirituality, which we'll talk about here in a minute. Because now what's happening, those people, they don't listen anyways. And this was also biblically predicted. For the time will come when people will not put up with sound doctrine, whether that doctrine you're talking about is theology or biology. They won't listen to it. Instead, to suit their own desires, they will gather around them a great number of teachers, liars, CNN, MSNBC, all of those different people, and all of the people who are at the CDC, the NIH, all those liars who say what their itching ears want to hear. They will turn their ears away from the truth and turn aside towards their myths. Now, this is a busy slide, and I'm just going to sum it up really quick here for you, is that I found these 2 resources are from 1956. These was a published article in Science magazine and a book called The Rape of the Mind. And underneath that one where it says the book, it says, it is now technically possible, meaning in 1956, it was possible to bring the human mind into a condition of enslavement and submission. How much further advanced are their technologies today? We can choose to use our growing knowledge to enslave people in ways they never dreamed of before. And they will be so taken in by these psychological techniques that can brainwash entire nations and reduce citizens to mindless robotism, which becomes for them a normal way of life. How many people know mindless robots in their life? I mean, almost everybody, right? Well, that was from 1956. Whoops, I guess it doesn't go backwards, this one. 1956. This is how long this has been going on and how long this has been plotted and planned. And we let this happen because we were asleep at the wheel. But now it's time to wake up and grab the steering wheel and say enough is enough. So, for God will bring every act of judgment, including everything that's been hidden, to the light. There is nothing hidden that won't be revealed, and there is nothing secret that won't become known and come to light. So, maybe it took the whole world being put into prison planet. Isn't that interesting how Alex Jones has been saying prison planet for decades? And here we are in a prison planet, right? But here we are, it's coming to light. And maybe it's going to take that power of that light to move this forward. And how are they doing this? Well, this whole thing called quantum computing, and I can't spend enough time to go through this, but there's something that I want you to remember. In fact, you only remember one thing from everything I've said here today. Remember this phrase, quantum entanglement. Quantum entanglement, because the quantum computers were developed specifically to house the artificial intelligence. And remember that phrase, quantum entanglement, because I'm going to be talking about that and writing a lot more about that this year. Because once you get this jab, once you get this in your body, and I'm going to show you a picture in just a second, once it's there, it doesn't come out. The entanglement hooks you up to the quantum computers, which are 10 or 20 or 30 times more powerful than Google's search engines. And because the whole purpose of injecting you with these shots and why they're pushing it so hard and why the Biden administration and all the other tyrannical governments in the world are saying everybody needs to be injected because they want you part of this transhumanism movement. Because this is what they're finding. These are electronic components found in the Pfizer shot. There are now 4 countries, separate groups of scientists, who have identified this and confirmed it. Spain, Germany, New Zealand, and UK came out with their report last week. These are micro routers, microtechnology seen under a microscope at 1200 magnification. Those are in the shots. And the whole point of this is they want to create everybody into what's called the hive mind, make everybody think and act the same, and have an avatar where it's the exact replicate of you. So that once you're up with the quantum entanglement, what goes up can come down, and they want everybody goose-stepping at the same rate and time to the same messages and being obedient. It's their way of enslavement. The end game of what they want to do is they're either going to kill you, they're going to make you a customer for life by making you chronically ill, or they're going to put you into that quantum entanglement and hook you up to be a transhuman humanoid, artificial intelligence simulated avatars to replace every human and eliminate God's creation. Now, who funded that project? DARPA, the most evil governmental organization, in my opinion, on the planet. They are the ones behind it. So beware of false prophets who come at you in sheep's clothing and inwardly are ravaging wolves. You will recognize them by their fruit. Fauci, Collins, Walensky, Califf, politicians, police chiefs, pastors, priests. Be careful of the messages that you listen to. So what are we to do? Well, let's go back here. What are we to do? There are solutions. Most importantly, if you have taken the shot, don't blame it on somebody else. Don't say it was my husband, my neighbor, my kids. I wanted to see my grandkids. There's this thing called FaceTime, you know. You can still see your grandkids. And so if you have, accept responsibility that you were the only one who sat in the chair and rolled up your sleeve. Because nobody else did it. Nobody literally held a gun to your head. Nobody held a gun to your kid's head or your pet animal's head. You did it. And whether it was out of fear, out of convenience, I want to go on that cruise, I really do. I need to travel. I want to go to the House of Blues. I need to go to that baseball game. Out of convenience or out of coercion because your boss said you have to get the shot because maybe you didn't think to pray about it and say, Lord, are you going to give me a better job? Is there someplace else you want me to be? Because after all, I've been complaining about this job for 20 years, you know. I've never liked it. But I'm willing to sacrifice my health, my body, for a job that I've been complaining about for 20 years. So stop looking for a physical solution to a spiritual problem. It's in your body, and the chance of it coming out is pretty slim. Now, that's to say there's always a way to detox. There's always a way to make your health better. There's always a way to make your physical body as healthy as you possibly can. It's just making claims that it's an essential oil or it's this or that that's going to get the spike protein out of your body. Until you can prove it with before and after tests, we don't even know for sure 100% how long the spike proteins actually even stay in your body. So if somebody's trying to sell you something to get the spike proteins out, but they can't measure it, how can you trust that that's true? Be very careful with that. Now, having said that, can you get healthier? Of course you can. You can do all kinds of detoxes with your liver, your gallbladder, your kidneys. You can do things to just get your heart healthier. And there's some technologies that we're bringing online in the new clinic system that I'm going to talk about in a minute that's going to get your heart healthier. But stop trying to solve this with a physical solution. Accept responsibility. Admit that it was a sin. You defiled the temple. And it's a sin just like any other sin in our life. Because what's really important is what's said in 1 John chapter 1, verse 9. If we confess our sins in his faithful righteousness, he forgives our sins and cleanses us from all unrighteousness. And I can't think of anything more unrighteous than these shots. So if we say we haven't sinned, which is verse 10, we make him a liar and his word is not in us. So the Lord will forgive your sin of submitting to this slavery technology, which is the most important thing, right? We're all going to die someday. And if you say with God all things are possible, that's true. And perhaps then with you getting right with the Lord again, he will come and heal your genetics and take away all of these autoimmune diseases, cardiovascular problems, neurological problems, and things like that. But that's now between you and God. Because not everybody that gets cancer gets healed. Not everybody that gets lupus gets healed. Not everybody that gets a stroke gets healed. That's between you and God. That's a physical thing. But most importantly is what you do with your spirituality. Because if you would have had all of that, taken all that fear that anybody had at the very beginning of this and laid it at the foot of the cross and said, Lord, I don't know what to do with this fear. Please take this demonic spirit of fear out of me, because I'm going to trust in you for my health. I'm going to trust in you for my future. I'm going to trust in you to keep me from getting sick. And if I get sick, I'm going to trust in you to heal me. I'm not going to bow my knee to the pharmakia, the sorcerers, and depend on that product. So if you've not taken the shot, you need to not do it at all costs. Do not participate in this. It's never going to end. And you can see that each booster that they give you suppresses your immune system more, harms your heart more, causes more neurological devastation. Each one makes it a little bit worse. So come and join me in the next part of this journey. We're going to change the healthcare system. We've already started it. I personally feel a little bit like the truckers in Canada. You know, the truckers, said, I interviewed one of the founders at the beginning, and he said, we all just were sitting around saying somebody ought to do something about this. Guess it ought to be me. I'm going to do something about this. And that's kind of what I feel about what we're doing right now. It's like we've all been talking about what a mess the healthcare system is and how people don't want to see their doctors anymore, that just want to bully them into getting a shot or make them wear a mask or refuse to see them because they're non-compliant with what they tell them what to do. Well, we just decided we're going to do something about it. So what we're doing is we're going to start, and we can't just start, in my opinion, at least not my model, and I know there's other people that around the country that are setting up other things and doing other things. God bless them. We hope they all succeed, right? We're going to start in Northeast Ohio and be the center, the epicenter of starting a combination of healthcare clinics that will help people who are sick and need to see a doctor, particularly those people that they sneeze twice and they swear they know they're dying of COVID, right? Because they sneeze twice, right? So we're going to make sure they get accurate diagnosis, which they're not diagnosing anybody accurately these days. It's COVID or nothing. It's not influenza, it's not mono, it's not pneumococcal pneumonia, it's not staph, it's not strep, it's not nothing, it's COVID. And we're going to treat you with remdesivir and a ventilator, and if you don't like it, you can leave. Nothing else is available. We're going to change that. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be bringing in some health and healing technologies that are pretty incredible. They're not new, but they were new to me, that are particularly going to address these blood clots and heart issues. And they're going to be all of that together. So this is kind of what I said, right? I said, and then I heard the voice of the Lord say, whom shall I send? Who shall go for us? And I said, I'm here. Send me. And that's exactly what we said. I said I was going to do, because I prayed about this every day for weeks and months, saying, Lord, is this really what you want me to do? Like, really? At my age, really? I mean, I kind of thought I was going to semi-retire. You know what they say? If you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plan. So I said, okay, Lord, if you're going to make this happen, it's got to happen easy, it's got to be fast, and everything has to line up, and it is. So come and join us. Go to the10pennyalliance.org. We're having a fundraising breakfast tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. At 8 a.m., there are still a few seats left. If you can pull out your phone, if you're interested in knowing more, go to the10pennyalliance.org. See what we're going to do. See where we're starting. Actually, we've already got places picked out. We've got a business plan done. We've got the equipment ready to come online. The only thing that's stopping us is some momentum and some money, because this doesn't come for free. So I want to thank you all, guys, for being so attentive. Thank you for all your support. I hope we'll see some of you tomorrow morning at our breakfast. We love you all a lot. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I yield you back some minutes.
Let's hear one more time for Dr. Sherry